How was your trip? Are you okay?
The trip was 45 minutes from London by plane. It's great. I love it. So that's fine.
Well, let's start with Titanic. Titanic is one of the most popular movies in the Netherlands, I think, of all time, not only the Netherlands. And I read that you played in 2 Titanic movies. Does it have a special place for you, the Titanic story?
No, you heard I was in 2 Titanics. One with the great Leonardo DiCaprio. Anybody like his work? Do you like Leonardo? I'll talk about Leonardo for a second, if you don't mind. He's just a wonderful, if you saw the film, which you did, I play the villain and he plays the hero. But in between filming, we had such fun. And he was just such a lovely, he's a wonderful actor. But he was just, that's what's so wonderful about being an actor, is you can have fun when we're not filming, and then when we get to do it, then it's serious stuff. And that's one of the joys of doing it. So he was great. I was in another Titanic film, but that was made for television, and it was a true story, and I played a real person who actually survived the Titanic. It was called SOS Titanic. Not many people have heard of it, but yes, so I've done 2 films. One fiction, obviously, but the other fact.
And you mentioned in Titanic you play the villain. You play the villain quite often. Do you enjoy playing the villain?
Well, no, it's the way I earn my living and feed the family. But it's not my favourite, but it just so happens that somebody saw me do a villainous role. But actually I played more good guys than I have villains, but the villains are more popular or whatever. What were you thinking about?
Bob Cratchit is a good guy.
Well, Bob Cratchit, yeah. If you saw Christmas Carol, or if you know that, Bob Cratchit is a wonderful, sympathetic character, so I played that. On stage, I played saints. But people, sort of remember more the heavy parts.
They tend to remember the villains.
Let's think. Tron. Do you see Tron? A villain. Do you know Time After Time? Nobody knows that film? Look it up. You've seen it. It's a good film, isn't it? Yeah. Time After Time. Google it. Have a look. Get a hold of it. It's a good film. I play the villain, though. That's the problem. Malcolm McDowell plays the hero. Well, I've done a lot, but
yeah, you've done.
But too many. In fact, I've really stopped playing villains now because there's only so many ways you can do it, and I much prefer not to play the
the good guy.
Yeah,
like Bob Cratchit.
Yeah, Bob Cratchit.
How was it to play such an iconic story as A Christmas Carol?
I'm sorry?
How was it to play...
to be in Christmas Carol.
Yeah, such an iconic story.
Well, it was just wonderful to do it. With a great actor called George C. Scott, who was just wonderful. To be part of that was great. And also, now another film that I wasn't the villain in was The Omen. Did you see The Omen? Yeah. Yes, I lost my head. Did you see it? No, okay. Don't bother, darling, don't bother. No, that's a great, of its type. The Omen was quite a good film, quite suspenseful, but The Omen didn't have a lot of blood. It wasn't it was more suggestion and atmosphere and music, but it was a wonderful experience. Not that you asked, but I'm telling you, it was a wonderful experience to do The Omen.
Yeah. So I was thinking we would do some questions from the audience. If anyone has a question, just raise your hand.
Oh, hello.
Excuse me.
We've got a microphone. Hello. She's having a lunch break.
She's having a lunch. It's fine.
A
question right there.
I might have to repeat it because I'm deaf.
Yeah.
Hi David, how are you doing? I have a question about The Omen. You of course worked with Gregory Peck, one of my favorite actors. But you worked with Gregory Peck. Yes. I was wondering how was that going? Can you elaborate on that?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Working with Gregory Peck. Yes. He's one of my favorite actors. Yes. I was wondering how was it working with him?
What was that Gregory Peck like?
Yes.
The most brilliant, wonderful, kind, friendly, generous person I have ever had the privilege of working with. And if you saw The Omen, it wasn't full of many jokes or laughter, but in between acting, rather like with Leonardo DiCaprio, we couldn't stop laughing. I only discovered the other day some photographs of us in between scenes, and we were always laughing, which it's hard to believe if you go and see the film again that we'd ever smile at all. But it was a wonderful, I was actually just saying earlier, Gregory Peck, for those of you who remember him and know him, it was just one of the best ever. It was a privilege to have even shaken his hand. What was so wonderful for me as an actor, that we travelled alone together to different parts. We went to Italy together to do some filming. We went to Israel together to do some filming. And we shared a suite in the hotel. And we had dinner, all that kind of stuff, which he was much older than me. And as a kid, I used to watch him on the screen. And then suddenly I'm there acting with him. It's for a young kid to suddenly grow up and find myself doing that, which I have with a lot of actors. Suddenly find myself there having dinner and flying around and talking and having fun. It was quite a thrill as well. But it was good. I've answered your question, haven't I? Yeah.
Perfect answer. Do we have any more questions? We've got one right here. This lady.
Hello, David. We were watching The Omen the other night, and we were wondering about the scene with the dogs on the cemetery. Were they real dogs, and how was it to...
The dogs in the cemetery in The Omen, do you remember? Hands up, who remembers dogs? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I just say, yeah. I mean, the dogs would not attack us. They just wouldn't come near us. They were scared of us. They were trained to come, but they just wouldn't. So what I suggested, we put meat down the front of our shirts and meat in our, and see if they would come and attack us. And they had to be forced to do it. So it wasn't scary for us, but the magic of filming and editing and cutting and us doing that and going like that, made it work. And but it was a very difficult scene, only because they wouldn't play the game. They were terrible actors, those dogs. They just wouldn't do it for us. But we did it. We got through. Thank you for asking.
The gentleman with the mustache has a question. Next one.
Hi, sir. Oh, yeah. You played in a lot of Star Trek series and films. Would you like to play in the new series, like Star Trek Discovery?
Well, now, you have to forgive me. Discovery is which one? I don't know. Who's the captain in that?
It's a Netflix show. First Commander.
No, I don't know it. I'm so sorry. No, I'd love to be in Patrick Stewart's next one, which is being promoted at the moment, because I love Patrick. We worked on the stage together years ago in Stratford-on-Avon, and I did one episode of Next Generation with Patrick Stewart. Yeah, I'd love to be invited back, but I've done 3. I played 3 different species. I played a Cardassian, a Klingon, and a human. So that was, I can't think of what other species there are. Yeah, I'd love to do it, as long as there's not too much difficult dialogue, not technical things. I can't do that. I can't do that. Thank you for asking.
Do you prefer a species to go back to if you would play a role again?
What species? I would, a human, because the other species, the Klingon, is 3-hour makeup and an hour to get on, and then the Cardassian is 4 hours to put on and an hour and a half to get off. So a human being is just that, and you're on there. So a human, I think I'd prefer.
Do we have any more questions? The gentleman with the mustache.
Don't go away.
I have another sci-fi question. You've done some audios for Big Finish, the Doctor Who, the alternative Doctor Who. How did you come to that?
The question is about audio, playing Doctor Who on audio for a company called Big Finish. They do a lot of new Doctor Who stories. I love doing it. It's really hard to answer. I like doing audios because it means I don't have to shave in the morning. I don't have to put a costume on. anything like that. So I like it for that. But it's great to be asked to be part of the Doctor Who universe, even though you don't see me playing the Doctor, you hear me. And they have lots of different actors playing the Doctor because he regenerates into anybody, which is a good thing. So I love doing audios and radio and things like that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll get...
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Any other questions? Yeah, right there. 2, actually.
Yes, you've played so many parts over the years. I was wondering what was the most challenging in your career, and for whatever reason.
What's the most challenging and difficult part? Playing a man called Heydrich, who was a real live Nazi in a TV series. I don't want to talk too long about it, but a real live character who was a real Nazi in an American TV series called The Holocaust. We all know what that's about. And playing that character was one of the most painful experiences that I mean, look, I can't tell you, it was just a very difficult, to play a real live Nazi is not easy for me to do that, but it had to be done because it was an important historical piece of work. So that was the most difficult. Some are physically difficult, like extreme cold or extreme heat. But that was really the first thing that springs to mind. You may not have seen it, but that's my answer.
Did you have any parts that were physically challenging?
No, not really exhausting in that way, but if you're 30 degrees below and you have to stand there. I've just recently only just seen the Game of Thrones. I caught up with a whole lot. Now, that I would not like to have been on because you could see that the cold and the conditions were really difficult. And I've heard from actors who've been in it that it was really difficult. A great show, but for the actors it was not easy. So I'm glad I wasn't in it.
Okay, we have another question. Yeah, gentleman right there.
Yes, David. I have a question about Time Bandits. Time Bandits.
Time Bandits.
With Terry Gilliam.
Time Bandits,
yes.
Yeah.
How was working with Terry Gilliam?
Anybody seen Time Bandits? Okay, great. Terry Gilliam, you asked, what was he like? He's wonderful to work with. And Time Bandits, it was difficult. That was quite difficult physically, but not impossible. And working with him, he's got such an imagination, as you know. And to be asked to do it was great because with some great actors in it. But I wasn't the first choice for it. An actor called Jonathan Pryce, if you know his work, he was the original. He was a friend of Terry Gilliam, but he wasn't free. So I got the part, and I'm grateful to Jonathan Pryce for being busy because I wouldn't have played it otherwise. But it was great. It's hard work, but good work. You wanted to do it for him. It was great.
What makes you turn down a part?
Well, I don't turn down many parts. No, I don't turn down, but I don't want to play paedophiles. I don't want to play killer slashers. That's the kind of part I don't want to play. But otherwise, I take whatever's there.
No more villains.
No more what?
No more villains.
No more villains. Well, no, if it's an interesting, but they become less and less interesting. For me anyway.
Yeah, because a lot has been done already.
Yeah.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? We have them right there.
Hello. You played a lot of parts, but is there a part you really would love to play and haven't played yet?
Can you repeat the question once?
A part you haven't played yet and you really want to play.
A part that I really want to play that I haven't played yet. I know. It doesn't mean I played everything, but I can't think. First of all, if there's a part that other people say I should play, but another actor plays it, I am able to see them and say they would be far better than me. And I'm quite lucky in having that thought about it. No, I played Hamlet, I played King Lear, you know, and I played with some Gregory Peck and all sorts of wonderful actors. So no, I'm not missing anything in that department. So I'm very grateful to have had the opportunities, because I never thought that I would be an actor. That wasn't what I thought I'd be. And so everything's a bonus. Being here is a bonus. Thank you.
So you didn't think you'd become an actor, but how did you end up acting?
I became an actor because I couldn't do anything else. Why did I become an actor? I really couldn't do anything else. I didn't have a good education. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't clever. I didn't pass exams. I had a very difficult home life. So the only thing I did, instead of joining a gang and doing the bad things, I joined an amateur company on stage. And that gave me something to do. Somebody suggested to me, try for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art as a student. And I said, no, I'll never get in. And I said, try. And I got in. And then the rest has just been accidents. I mean, I never planned my career, you know, and as I say, I'm so fortunate.
It's your talent that got you there.
Well, I don't know, it's some talent, but it's is luck, a bit of hard work, and opportunities, you know. But the parts I've played usually have been offered to somebody else first, and they would, like Jonathan Pryce in other actors have said no, and then it comes to me, and I say yes, please.
So you just take them?
I just take them, yeah.
I think we have time for a couple more questions. I have one from the lady right there.
I was wondering what happened to your head when it was cut off.
Oh, what in the Omen? Well, yes, that's the old question. What happened to the head from the Omen? Because remember, the head comes off in the Omen. The question is, what happened to it? Well, I lost it in the divorce. The wife took it. No, I don't know, seriously. I don't know where it is. But I wouldn't want it anyway. Well, why should I want it? You'd like it. Well, there's something really a bit weird about you.
We'll see if we can get you the head. Is there one more question? Right there in the back?
In the back. Run. We've only got a few minutes. Come forward, because I can...
Okay.
Right, now.
Hi, I was just wondering, out of playing a Klingon and a Cardassian in Star Trek, which one did you prefer?
Oh, we discussed that.
Oh, did you?
You weren't listening, were you?
Sure. No, I'm sorry, I was late.
No, neither of them. No, I played three, you see. I played a human being. No, I suppose, look, they were all great parts. The Cardassian, because I worked with Patrick Stewart, who was an old friend, and Klingon, Gorkon, because it was working with Christopher Plummer, and the director was a friend of, somebody I knew from another film. And then the third one was in Star Trek V. I played a human being because I had no makeup. That's my favorite. Thank you for the question. All right, darling.
So is there one last question before we... Oh, perfect. Well, make sure you go by, if you have any more questions, you go by, he's signing.
Over there, if you want
he's
to
over
chat.
there signing. Don't forget the photo. And let's give him a big round of applause.